Hey everyone, Paul here from freeyounow.com, and this is Driving with Paul, episode number 18. In this episode, I want to talk about some woo-woo stuff, some law of attraction, spirituality, woo-woo type stuff, okay? And more specifically, what I want to talk about is how the universe talks to us. I want to give you an example from that happened to me yesterday. It may not be the best example of this concept, but it's a recent example, and I think you'll get the point. So, I've been struggling with this cold or flu or whatever this is for the last week and a half. And I'm usually one of those people that is, like, I never get sick, okay? I'm always healthy. I don't get colds and flus like most people do, you know, every 3 or 4 months that they're coming down with something. I'm usually pretty healthy. So, I find it annoying when I do get sick. And this year in January, I ended up having a cold or flu, and then now in May, I just got one in the last week and a half. And I've been taking vitamins and drinking different drinks that I have that have vitamins in them, and you know, a week and a half later, I've been struggling with these symptoms, right? And especially the coughing in my chest and stuff like that. So yesterday morning, I kind of woke up and I was just thinking in my mind, like, you know what, enough is enough. I want to get rid of this thing. What am I missing here, right? Like, what am I doing wrong? What am I not doing to get rid of this thing, okay? And so that request basically went out to the universe. I sent out that intention to be educated on what I'm doing wrong, because I already tried all the different things that I know to do in order to heal up faster and get over a cold or flu faster. And what I was doing wasn't working. So I sent out a request to the universe, hey, educate me, because I don't know, there's something I'm missing here, right? So anyway, yesterday morning we were sitting there eating breakfast with my wife, and we noticed that my cat came over, and we have a skylight in our kitchen, and through the skylight was the sun was basically shining. It created like a square spot by the fridge where the sun was shining, right, directly. And the cat was lying there in the sun. And my wife and I both looked at the cat, and we were kind of laughing. We're like, look at this cat. She's lying in the sun, right? It's like she's sunbathing. And we noticed that the cats do that, right? And it's just interesting to us. Like, yeah, that's kind of cool. Like, look, the cat found the sun, and there she is, lying in the sun. And it's been pretty cold, and it hasn't really been a lot of sun out here until recently, in the last while, right? So the sun has started to come out now, and so the cats are like chasing the sun and finding the spots where, when the sun moves around, wherever the skylights are, you know, wherever the sun is coming through the skylights, that's where the cats like to lie. So we made a note of that, but I didn't really think too much of it. We just noticed it, okay? And then later in the afternoon, it was actually my niece's birthday yesterday, and she was having a party, and I was supposed to go, but I was feeling so crappy that I couldn't go, right? And I didn't want to get other people sick there either, so I phoned and I said that I wasn't able to make it. And I wasn't very happy with that, because I wanted to go, right? But anyways, before my wife left for the party, I was just walking around the house, and I was kind of mad because I wasn't going. And then I had this thought in my mind. I said, you know what? It's actually kind of sunny outside. I think I'm going to go outside and just walk around in the backyard and just get some sun on my face, right? That's what I said to my wife. She's like, okay. So I went outside with my dogs, and I just walked around, and I just got some sun on my face, right? And because I've been basically inside the house for the last week and a half, because I've been sick and I haven't really been going out anywhere. So it feels like I've been in a cave, right? Like just darkness, because I wasn't outside, I wasn't out in the sun. So I'm like, I need to go out in the sun. So I went out in the sun, I walked around, and I just kind of got some sun on my face, came back inside. And then when my wife left for my niece's birthday party, I was just sitting there in my living room and looking at my cell phone, and I was trying to update one of the apps that I have on my cell phone, and my cell phone said, oh, you're out of space. There's no more memory on your phone. There's not enough room. We can't even update this app. And I'm like, what the heck do I have on this phone? It's got 16 gigs of RAM on it. What's taking up all the space? So I went on the phone, I clicked on the thing, and it said that I had like, I don't know, 2 or 3 gigs of audio files, music files and stuff like that, right? So I'm like, what the heck do I have on here? So I went on my phone, I looked, and I realized that at some point I had uploaded about 200 audio files from a private club that I'm a part of called the Global Information Network. And these are like personal development audios, okay? There's about 200 of them that I had on the phone. And I totally forgot that I had them on there, right? I put them on there like a year ago or 2 years ago, and I totally forgot about them, right? So I was looking at those audios. I'm scrolling through this list of about 200 audios. I'm like, what's on here? I don't even remember what I put on here, right? And I'm scrolling through, and then I like accidentally clicked on one of the audios and it started to play, okay? And it was an audio by Kevin Trudeau, and I started listening to it for about a minute, and he's talking about a friend of his named Ed Foreman. So he's just talking about that, and it's kind of like a Q&A session, where he's answering people's questions. And about a minute into this audio, he says, okay guys, so I want to talk to you guys about this swine flu thing that's been going around. And now this audio is a few years old, so this was recorded at the time when there was the whole supposed swine flu epidemic that was going around in the United States. And he was talking about how, the swine flu is not as bad as the government makes it out to be, and that really it's the vaccination that you have to be worried about, not so much the swine flu. But after he talked to me about that, it doesn't really matter what he was referring to in there, but after he finished talking about the swine flu, he started talking about just regular flus and colds. And he said that he started talking about this study that was done in the UK, where they did this 3-year study where they took 200 people, and it was a double-blind placebo group type study, right? And they took 200 people, and 100 people they gave a placebo, right? And the other 100 people, they gave them a vitamin D3 supplement, okay? And then they monitored those people through the cold and flu season, and they monitored how many people, what percentage of those people got a cold or flu during the cold and flu season, okay? And at the end of the cold and flu season, they calculated the numbers, and they found that the placebo group, the group that got the sugar pill that had no vitamin D3 in it, that group, 40% of people got a cold or flu during the cold and flu season. Okay, the other 60% were fine, but about 40% got the flu or a cold. From the group that got the vitamin D3 supplement, 0 got a cold or flu. And they looked at it and they said, that can't be right. There's no way that's right. Like, what? So they decided to do the study again the following year. Okay, so they grabbed 200 brand new people, same thing, double-blind placebo group, so nobody knew who was getting what. Half the people got a placebo, the other half got a vitamin D3 supplement. And this time around, I guess the cold and flu season wasn't as severe. So I think it was about 28% of the placebo group got a cold and flu, which is kind of like the baseline, what the general population was getting, right? So 28% of them got a cold and flu. But from the group that got the vitamin D3 supplement, 0 got a cold or flu again. They're like, what the heck? That's so weird. So they decided to do a third study the following year again. Same thing, 200 people, double blind, nobody knew who was getting what. This time around, I think it was like 30-something% of the placebo group got a cold and flu. And once again, the guys who got the people who got the vitamin D3 supplement, 0% got the flu, caught a cold or flu. So they concluded the 3-year study basically showing that vitamin D3 has a huge impact on boosting our immune system and preventing us from getting colds and flus. Okay, So he was just referring to the study, and he's talking about, that's just like one study, and there's a whole bunch that have been done since then that show the benefits of vitamin D3 for helping people, you know, get a cold and flu or whatever. Okay. Now, I'm not a doctor, so I don't, you know, do your own research on this, right? But I trust Kevin Trudeau personally myself, and, you know, and the studies that he cites. And so I went and I looked at the, you know, the vitamin drinks that I've been drinking, and it's kind of funny because the ones that I've been drinking have a lot of vitamin B, a lot of the B vitamins, and they have vitamin C, but they don't have any vitamin D3, right? And it's because I totally forgot about vitamin D, right? I studied nutrition myself, but I totally forgot about vitamin D. I know vitamin C and vitamin B are huge for helping with the immune system, right? But I totally forgot about vitamin D. So I'm listening to this audio, and Kevin Trudeau is reminding me, hey, don't forget about vitamin D3. So I went and I looked at my cupboard, and I actually have, my wife went to a naturopath a few years ago, and she got vitamin D3 drops. So we have them in the house. I'm like, okay, I'm going to take some of this, right? So I took the supplements, and I was like, okay, so that's what I was missing, right? That was the missing information. And what Kevin Trudeau explains is, he says that what happens is the reason why people get sick and they get the cold and flu during the winter months is because during the winter months, the amount of sun that we get is much less, and the amount of UVB radiation from the sun is much less, and we don't get enough sun on our skin because our body actually produces vitamin D3 itself just from the sun. Okay, it converts the sun rays when they hit your skin. Your body actually produces your own vitamin D3. So during the summer months, we're fine, and our immune systems are much stronger. But in the winter months, when it gets cold and we're not outside as much, and we cover ourselves up with clothing because it's cold, right? Our vitamin D3 levels actually significantly drop. And when they drop below a certain threshold, your immune system becomes weakened, and that's why you start getting colds and flus. Okay, so it totally made sense, right? So then a little bit later on in the evening, I was talking to my brother, and I was explaining the situation to him. I was telling him about the studies, right? And the vitamin D3 and all that stuff, right? And he says to me, he goes, oh, so that explains why cats always go in the sun and they lounge around in the sun, right? Now here's the thing. My brother, excuse me, my brother didn't know that morning my wife and I were looking at our cat basking in the sun and making a point of the fact that cats do that, right? He didn't know that. So I was like, that's weird. Why would he say that? My brother doesn't even have a cat, right? He used to have a cat a long time ago, but doesn't have a cat right now. So just out of the blue, he mentions that, hey, that's why cats go in the sun. But it makes sense, right? Animals are going in the sun because, and I don't know if animals produce vitamin D or not from the sun like we do, but I'm just saying it was a correlation. It was like, wait a minute, why is he talking about cats the same day that we noticed that with my wife, right? And as I'm talking to him about that, we were chatting on Skype, and on my browser I had a window with Facebook open, okay? And my Facebook newsfeed updated as he was talking to me about that. My Facebook newsfeed updated, and at the top of my newsfeed, I saw this this video popped up, and it was a video of a dog. It was showing a picture of the dog in the video preview, and it said, it said something like, "Dogs are funny." And I looked at this video, and I'm like, "What's this video about?" Right? So as I'm talking to him, I just kind of like clicked on this video just to kind of watch this thing, because I always like watching funny dog videos. And it's this video of a dog that is sitting there, or it basically grabs its bed, like a dog bed. It's this big dog. It looks like a, I don't know, not a Dalmatian, I don't even know what kind of dog. It's a big dog, right? So it goes over and it grabs its bed, right? It grabs its bed in its mouth, lifts it up, and walks over down the hallway into this room, right? And in this room, there's a window and there's sunlight coming in and it's shining on the floor. And this dog puts the bed right into the sunlight and then goes and lies down in the sun. Now, at the beginning of this video, I said that this is going to be a woo-woo video, law of attraction type of stuff, right? And I talked about that. I want to talk about how the universe talks to us. So this is basically how the universe talks to us, okay? I'm asking for specific information, which is I'm asking the universe, what am I missing, you know, in my formula for getting rid of this flu and cold? And the universe starts talking to me, right? It's talking to me through my animals, right? It's getting my cats to lie in the sun and show me, look, Dad, get yourself in the sun, right? It's the, you know, it's getting me to pay attention to the fact that my cats are lying in the sun. Because they do that quite often, but it was only yesterday that I really specifically noticed it, right? So it popped a little message into my mind. Look at the cat. It's in the sun. It's trying to communicate to me that I need to get myself in the sun, or I need to get vitamin D, right? And then the universe is also sending me signals like, hey, maybe you should go outside and walk around in the sun, which is what I did, right? So it's communicating to me through my own intuition that way as well, right? And I listened to it and I went, and that's fine, right? And then it's also communicating to me through this audio. I mean, there's over 200 audios on my cell phone that I had that talk about all kinds of money-making stuff and all this stuff or whatever. And I just happened to click on the one audio out of like 200 that specifically talks about colds and flus. And specifically in that audio, Kevin Shadow is talking about citing a very specific study from the UK where they're talking about the one vitamin that I'm not taking, because the products that I was taking had vitamin C and B, but they didn't have vitamin D. So the one vitamin that I was missing in my formula is what he's talking about in that audio, right? And then my brother, when I mentioned it to my brother, he specifically mentions the cats basking in the sun when he didn't even know that that we noticed that the cats were doing that, and he doesn't even have a cat. And just as I'm talking to him, at that exact moment on Facebook, somebody posts a video of a dog grabbing his bed and moving it so that it's basking in the sun. I mean, come on. What are the chances that that's a coincidence, right? And some people will believe that it is a coincidence. They'll be like, no, it's just all coincidence, right? I don't believe that though. I believe that the universe is always talking to us. It's always giving us answers to our questions. We just need to learn how to tune in and listen so that we pay attention to these things and we get the right information, okay? That's all I wanted to cover in this video, guys. I just wanted to show you an example. I don't know if it's the best example. I have much better examples than that, but it's something that just happened yesterday, so I figured I'd mention it, and just talk about it. Because I think it's a good example of how the universe can talk to you and how they can give you answers to questions like the one I had yesterday, which was, how the heck do I get over this flu or cold and get past it? And what am I missing? Right? What am I missing? Because I thought I was taking all the vitamins that I needed, and I wasn't. I totally forgot about vitamin D3. So there you go. And by the way, I do feel a lot better today. So it's working. It's already starting to work. All right, that's all I wanted to cover in this video, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.